Hey, what is up, everybody? This is your boy AJTRIP, and welcome to the Game According to Me. This is my weekly episodic podcast where I talk about college and pro football, although we don't have too much college to talk about, if none at all, really. There were some bowl games over the weekend, but really this is about the NFL. And this is the time of the year where these podcasts of mine get a little bit smaller, because all we have to do is just go over what went down last week in the National Football League and look ahead to what's going to happen this coming week in the National Football League. So, as we do that, let's just go ahead and talk about it. Okay, so let's start with last Thursday's episode where the Las Vegas Raiders, beat the Los Angeles Chargers 63-21. Absolutely brutal beatdown of the Chargers, costing Brendan Staley his job the next day on Friday. The third coach to be fired in the middle of this season. He's an average coach, 24-24, and I think most people thought that maybe they would wait until after the season, but after the beatdown that the Raiders gave the Chargers last week, they said, no, we cannot wait. We're going to have to wait and do it. So that's what happened last Thursday. Looking into Saturday's action, we had 3 games Saturday. We have 2 games on Saturday this week. But for last week, we had the Bengals and the Vikings in a tremendous game, which saw a tremendous catch by T. Higgins near the goal line, raising the ball over the goal line to score a touchdown. Jake Browning once again just being tremendous in relief for Joe Burrow. And the Vikings just could not keep it up together. Bengals winning overtime 27-24. The next game was the Colts and the Steelers, where Mr. Trubisky was Mr. Trubisky. Just the offense is just not, working under him. The offense doesn't seem to be working under Kenny Pickett as well too much. And even so much so that there are now starting talks of maybe firing, Mike Tomlin, or maybe even trading Mike Tomlin, because he may want to go to the Steelers. And I would say this: if Mike Tomlin wants to force his way out of Pittsburgh, I would ask him to seriously think about that. The Steelers are a great organization. They may be going through some trials and tribulations right now, but I think you can count on them getting him back on track. And as for the Steelers, maybe wanting to get rid of Mike Tomlin, same thing there. There's maybe some trials and tribulations, but Mike Tomlin, I think, is still a good coach, still a great coach. So I would tread lightly for both parties on talking about trying to leave each other. In that game, the Steelers safety he gave a dangerous hit to Michael Pittman Jr., which caused him to be suspended by the NFL for the remainder of the season. So he will not play in the last 3 games, and the Steelers make the playoffs, will not play into the playoffs. The Colts under Gardner Minshew won 30-13. And in the nightcap, the Broncos lost to the Lions in Detroit 42-17. Jared Goff 5 touchdown passes, a tremendous game for Jared Goff, and the Detroit Lions seemingly getting back on track again after last week's loss to my Chicago Bears. And back on track now. They need to keep it continue. They've won 10 games. The first that's happened since 2012, I think, was told, and now they are just several games away from winning the division. They've got the Vikings this week, and then they've got some other. They got who else they got? They got the Cowboys. Yeah, they got the Cowboys, and then last week they got the Vikings again. So you at the very least take care of business against the Vikings. The division should be yours, and hopefully they can beat the Cowboys as well, and maybe get an opportunity as a shot of being maybe the 2 seed in the NFC, which would be pretty awesome. And as for the Broncos, it was just a game that they just wasn't ready for, and that's on everybody. That's on the coaches, that's on the players, that's on everybody. They just wasn't ready, just seemed like, to play the Detroit Lions, and that's unfortunate, and that's just the way it is. Sometimes games happen like that. To Sunday's action, Tommy DeVito was unfortunately hurt in the game, but he couldn't do nothing against the Saints anyway. Saints won 24-6. The Browns beat my Bears 20-17. A 13-point comeback in the fourth quarter, led by old man Joe Flacco, helped the Browns win, and a dropped pass in the end zone by Darnell Mooney cost the Bears an ugly chance to win the game in the last seconds. But realistically, this game was lost in the fourth quarter. The Bears offense couldn't do nothing. Once again, Justin Fields showing that he just doesn't have anything in the gas. So it's time to let him go. It's time to let Luke Getsy go as well. I'm all about keeping Matt Eberflus, if for no other reason, to make some people in this city minds go boom. So, but yeah, the Bears unfortunately lost to the Browns. Browns still in it in the playoff situation. The Panthers get their second win of the year. They beat the Atlanta Falcons 9-7. The Atlanta Falcons, the Carolina Panthers have 2 wins in which they have not led at any time in the game. And actually, the stat is that they at no point this year have led in the fourth quarter. 15 games have not led at any point in the fourth quarter, but they've won 2 games. That's just amazing stat. The Buccaneers beat the Packers 34-20. Baker Mayfield with a perfect passer rating of 158.3 was tremendous in the game against the Buccaneers. Jordan Love, he was okay, but he's not the reason why the Buccaneers lost. That Packers defense, in fact, the defensive coordinator Joe Barry was trending seemingly from 12 o'clock to all the way to 5 because of the Packers defense and what they were giving up to the Buccaneers. So Buccaneers now on top of the NFC South at 7-7. And they've got a chance to win the division, make the playoffs once again. Packers seemingly out of the race for the division, but you never know. They're only 6-8. They can still come back and they win their last 3 games. 9-8, get a little help, they can maybe sneak into the playoffs. So we'll never see. But I'm not gonna put this on Jordan Love. He seemingly played well Sunday. The Dolphins shut out the Jets 30-0. Brutal this shutout. Yeah, seemingly seems like that they're stopping even thinking about having Aaron Rodgers play this year. Although today he was activated from IR and placed on the 53-man roster so that he can at least practice with the team and rehab with the team in the team's facility. So again, I would doubt that Pat McAfee said something like, he could maybe he could come back, play 1 snap to prove that you can do that. You can come back as a quarterback and do it. But I think they better make it safe and sorry and just not let him play. The Chiefs beat the Patriots 27-17. Once again, the story of this game is that even though the Chiefs won, once again, Kadarius Toney just dropping balls, right in front of it. And this time, these weren't balls that were hitting the ground. These were balls that dropped in, fell into the hands. Fell into the hands of the opponents. It led to a pick. So, but the Chiefs obviously were able to overcome that, and they won 27-17. They needed to overcome that. The Texans, to overcome it, they overcame a pretty. It was a good deficit. I think it was maybe 16-3 at one point for the Titans beating the Texans, but Case Keenum, as they had to also overcome the loss of their quarterback C.J. Stroud to a concussion, and came back and won in overtime 19-16. Texans still in the battle for a playoff spot, still in the battle for the division. So that's amazing. The Cardinals put up good points, but there was no match for the 49ers. The 49ers just bum rushed them 45-29. Early in the year against the Cardinals, Christian McCaffrey had 4 touchdowns. In this game, he had 3 touchdowns. Brock Purdy still looking great. He is now the de facto MVP leader of this thing, but we still got one guy who can still maybe make a run at it. I'll talk about that in a second. But the 49ers beat the Cardinals 45-29. The Rams beat the Commanders 28-17. Talking about a team that's made a comeback. They started off very slow, but they have won some games, and they are in the playoff spot right now. I think if the playoffs started today, they would be a playoff team, if I'm correct. So they beat the Commanders 28-21. Magic Stafford put Kanua Cup doing what you got to do to try to make it in. If they get it in, who knows? The Bills beat the Cowboys 31-10, and just it was, some people call it the game of the week, and it just turned out to be an absolute domination. I mean, Josh Allen threw the ball 15 times. 15. I mean, the Buffalo Bills just ran down the Cowboys' throat. I mean, it seemed like every play was a run and a run and a run and a run, and the Cowboys could not stop it. So the Bills are learning how to win games anyway, but I don't think they're going to be able to do that to their next couple of competitors, the Chargers, and actually I don't think they should, because I think that the Bills could win their next 3 games, and I think they should try to win it by Josh Allen, get him into the MVP race. Because right now he's on the outside, but he could easily jump into it with 3 fantastic games in the season. Because nobody, this MVP keeps going back and forth, and one minute it was Hurts, and one minute it was Purdy, one minute it was Dak Prescott, and because of this game, Dak Prescott's now out of it. So yes, Josh Allen, you can continue doing what you've been doing. Yes, do the run game with James Cook. Do not run with Josh Allen, a lot, But make sure that Josh Allen is getting his passing game on so that he can have the opportunity to make it into the MVP race. So tremendous spot for the Bills, rooting for you all the time. Sunday Night Football, the Ravens beat the Jaguars 23-7. This victory has caused the Ravens to open up a playoff spot. They've clinched a playoff spot, and it also has made the Jaguars vulnerable to the Colts and to the Texans, who also won this weekend, and they can now have a shot at jumping up and winning the division, from the Jaguars. So Trevor Lawrence at some point in the game was concussed. He's in concussion protocol. He has not missed a game all season in his young career. He might have to miss one this weekend because of that concussion protocol if he doesn't pass everything that goes through. So that was that. And then a shocker on Monday Night Football, the Seattle Seahawks under the guise of Drew Lock beat the Philadelphia Eagles 20-17. An amazing throw from Drew Lock to Jackson Smith and Jigma at the end of the game to score the final touchdown. And Hurts, he played sick. He was he got really sick during the weekend. He had been downgraded from healthy to questionable on Saturday. He did play, but it is not nothing. And the Eagles with a consecutive loss in a row. No, actually a third loss in a row. Lost to the Niners, lost to the Cowboys, and now lost to the Seahawks. Makes them vulnerable to the Cowboys winning that division as well. They're going to have to, do some soul searching here to try to get back into this thing. And the Seahawks are not out of it yet either for the playoffs. So very, very good, very, very good. What's going down in Seattle? That was this past week 15. Let's look ahead to week 16. Now, for a look ahead to week 16, starting with tomorrow's game, the Saints and the Rams. The Saints still have an opportunity to win in the NFC South. And as I mentioned before, the Rams are in the playoffs as the playoffs will start today. So they need to continue to try to stay in that playoff hunt for both teams. Should be a pretty rare good game. Saturday, there's 2 games Saturday. The Bengals are at the Steelers. Again, the Bengals are trying to keep their spot in the playoffs alive. So are the Steelers. The Steelers are going to Mason Rudolph after the Mitch Trubisky thing did not work, and I could have told you that was not going to happen. But they're not going to go to Mason Rudolph, see what he can do. And as for the Bengals, they're going to keep it with Jake Browning and hopefully put up some more points, put more offense, and get another win. And Saturday night, we talked about it. The Bills are at the Chargers. This is a game for the Bills where there's no Justin Herbert. The defense is still pretty stout on the Chargers, but with Josh Allen there, you should still be able to tear that defense up, tear them apart. If the Raiders could do it, Josh Allen should surely be able to do it. If the Raiders were able to put up 63, this should be an 80-burger night for the Buffalo Bills. But of course, that's probably not going to happen because, things like that don't happen. You don't get something where a team gives up 60, the next one they give up more points. That usually does not happen. They're going to be better. They're going to be ready for the Bills, but the Bills should still be too much for the Chargers here. This should be an easy victory for the Bills. On the Sunday, the Commanders are at the Jets. The Lions are at the Vikings. The first of their second matches. Again, this is a big time for both teams. The Vikings, they still have an opportunity to win the division if they can at least beat if they can win all three of their games, and the Lions can lose all three of theirs. I believe they still have an opportunity to do that because they faced the Lions twice. And of course, the Lions, I think if the Lions beat the Vikings here, they will clinch the division because the Vikings have no opportunity to win it, to win it, because the Vikings lost to the Bengals last week. The Browns at the Texans, this is going to be a really good game. They have not heard anything about C.J. Stroud being able to play. And the Browns are still looking for that. They're right now the 5th seed in the AFC. They're looking to try to get back and continue their opportunity to go to play. They're looking for their first 10-win season in a very long time as well. So should be another great game that should be very fun to watch. The Packers at the Panthers. The Packers, coming off of this loss, trying to sneak in. This is a game that they should win. Panthers maybe try to look for their first two-game winning streak, if you want to call it that. There's been some talk about it's 2 games of winning streak. I'm not sure, but whatever it is, they're looking for their second game to win in a row, and we'll see what we go down. But again, this should be an easy game for the Packers. The Seahawks at the Titans. I think this is just really the Seahawks need this game more than the Titans. The Titans, I think, are pretty much out of the talk to make any playoff spot or anything like that, and definitely out of the division talks. The Seahawks out of the division talks, but still have opportunity to make the playoffs. So the Seahawks need to go to Tennessee and beat the Titans. The Colts at the Falcons. Again, the Falcons, believe it or not, they're not out of the division talk. So they need a victory, but in the Colts, they need a victory as well because they've got teams behind them like the Texans, and they're in the talks for the division as well. Again with the who knows who's going to play at quarterback for the Jaguars and who's going to be playing at quarterback for the Texans. Both these teams could lose, and with a Colts win, they can fall to right up into the AFC South lead. Speaking of the Jaguars, they'll be taking on the Buccaneers again. This is great. All these games have great stakes to them. The Buccaneers, again, the leader in the NFC South. The Jaguars, leader of the AFC South. Both need to win to keep their lead in their respective divisions, and both can't lose because they got teams behind them. In Atlanta and the Saints in the NFC South, and then the Texans and the Colts in the AFC South looking to take their lead in the division. Again, another good matchup. The Cowboys at the Dolphins is going to be a good one as well. This is going to be one where somebody has to win, because the Cowboys only win against a winning opponent has been the Eagles, and the Dolphins have not beat a winning opponent. So it would be good for the Cowboys to go to Dallas, go to Miami, and beat the Dolphins so that they can beat a team, with a good record. And this would be the Dolphins' chance so that they can do it as well. Now, the Cowboys beat the Eagles. This is a road game. The Cowboys have not done crap on the road. They beat the Eagles at home. So they need to try to do this on the road to show that they're not the team that they get blew up by the Bills 31-10. And the Dolphins need this win to show that they can do. Tyreek Hill, who did not play in last week's game, still questionable for this week's game with an ankle injury. The Cardinals are at the Bears. The Patriots are at the Broncos. Broncos still with an outstanding chance to make the playoffs as well. Raiders are at the Chiefs. The Chiefs need to still, need to still win because some strange things happen. The Chiefs could still get the number 1 seed. Giants are at the Eagles. Giants losing to the Saints. Their path to the playoffs is very slim and none. Just like the Packers, they would need they would need to win every game and a whole bunch of help. But the Eagles need to get back on track. They need to, try to keep up with the Dallas Cowboys in their division. So they need to beat the Giants. And then Monday Night Football should be another great game. The Falcons, and not the Falcons, but the Ravens and the 49ers, both division leaders, both the number 1 seeds of the respective conferences. Either one wants to lose that. Some people are saying this is a Super Bowl preview. We'll have to wait and see, but this should be a pretty fun game to watch come Monday night. Falcons, and this also might decide the MVP as well. Are you going to give it to Brock Purdy if the 49ers win? If the Ravens win, are you going to give it to Lamar Jackson? Because he's in the MVP race as well. All right, so there you have it. This episode of The Game According to Me is over. Next week, we'll check in with the NBA and the standings. We'll talk about some of the games that went down on Christmas for the NBA. And maybe just if there's been any other news in Major League Baseball, there's been none. We thought maybe when the news of Shohei Ohtani would happen, we would get some more news, but we've heard nothing. And it's starting, in the Major League Baseball starting to be like that, where the hot stove is not the hot stove anymore. It's just a cool oven. It's just a cool oven. So we have to wait and see if anything breaks. So yeah, I'm gonna look out for that. Got a plug here for you. All my wrestling fans out there who are listening to this, make sure to check this coming Saturday on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/AJTRIP. There will be the fifth or sixth annual WWE Awards show that will be happening, where I will give awards for things like Match of the Year, Superstar of the Year, Performer of the Year, and Tag Team of the Year, and so many others. So make sure, if you're a wrestling fan, you're gonna make sure you do that. So go right now to youtube.com/AJTrip. Go there and click the notification bell so that when the video goes live, you can sit there and watch it. So that's just a plug. Make sure you go there and talk about all that. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for listening. This is your boy AJ Trip signing off. As always, be good to each other, y'all. Be careful out there. And please have a safe and happy Merry Christmas. And I am out.